Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Nerd Herders. My name is Nick.
I'm Rich.
And today we're talking about what we've been up to.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
I've been up to a couple things.
Okay.
A couple movies I've seen.
What?
Yeah. We already talked about Ninja Turtle, so I won't talk about that again.
Check out the review. It's available on youtube.com/overbeer.
Yeah. So I've seen... I don't think I talked about it yet on the show. I saw The Nice Guys. Did I talk about that on here?
No, you didn't.
Cool. So I saw The Nice Guys and I saw Popstar. Never stop,
Never stops poppins.
Never stop, never stopping. What do you want to hear about first?
Let's go with The Nice Guys.
Cool.
Because it's been out longer and they have less of a chance of going to see it.
I really liked it.
Good.
It's a very much a Shane Black movie through and through. It's one of the few movies that have come out where I'm like, I would be interested if they were to do another one.
Like a sequel?
Yeah, doing a sequel. I think Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are great together. The writing's, great. It's typical Shane Black writing. It's a lot of fun.
The writings on the wall.
Yeah. But it's a lot. It's some of the most fun I've had in the movie like this year.
Good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to.
Gotta go see it before it's gone.
You know who else hasn't seen it?
Who?
Most people.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's done very poorly. You know what else did very poorly?
What?
The other movie you're going to talk
I
about.
know. Everyone complains about there being too many sequels and reboots and
original stuff.
And
Everything's superhero movies.
Yeah, and now you got The Nice Guys, which is a well-acted, well-written and directed original property, and nobody's going to see it. And you have Popstar, which is good, and you have nobody going to see that either. So go, if you really are sick of these things, vote with your wallet and actually go and see these things and support them. Don't steal it or any of that bullshit.
You know what else you could do?
What?
Say you're not interested in these movies,
okay,
but you have Movie Pass like we do.
Mm-hmm.
You could just go get a ticket and support the movie and not actually go watch it.
That's true.
That would have no effect on your life, and you would still get the money.
Yeah, so just go support, original stuff. But so yeah, I saw Popstar. Full disclosure, I've never been a big Lonely Island fan.
Not a fan of Hot Rod?
I never saw Hot Rod.
Hot Rod's funny.
Really?
I love Hot Rod.
Maybe I'll give it a chance. It always looked really stupid.
It may be on Netflix.
I'll check. But as far as the music and stuff, I've enjoyed them sort of in passing. If there's something on SNL, from that, but I've never enjoyed them enough to go out and seek out more of them or albums or anything like that. I've just kind of okay, they're there, they're fine. Nothing against them, but wasn't really in love with them. But everybody I know who saw Popstar was raving about it. It's very funny. I don't know if I would buy it or see it again or anything like that. But it's really good. It's clever. It's super, commentary, satire of pop stars and the music industry and things like that. And kind of, I don't want to put it in the same league as This Is Spinal Tap, but it's very much in that vein of making fun of the weird shit.
People are really liking it.
Yeah, it's good. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
That's good to hear. I actually, pretty much in the same boat as you. I've never listened to a Lonely Island album.
Mm-hmm.
Never been compelled to. The SNL sketches, fine.
Yeah.
They weren't I gotta rewatch these over and over again for me. I'm a fan of Andy Samberg. I liked Brooklyn Nine-Nine a lot.
Yeah, I do like them.
I do think Hot Rod is hilarious. I've got a group of friends who used to watch it all of the time.
Really?
And just quote it endlessly. But with that said, I'm not I don't Follow Lonely Island.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that there was a Lonely Island movie being made, I wasn't too interested. And then the trailers, they looked okay. I didn't think it looked great.
Yeah, I saw the trailers and I was this is either going to be really good or really
But
bad.
then the buzz.
It's good. I mean, it's definitely a solid flick. It's not long. It's 86 minutes.
I think it made less than $5 million or something this weekend.
Wow.
So it is bombing real hard, which is kind of a shame. But I'm excited to see that as well. I haven't seen either of those. That's not what I was up to.
What were you up to?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks now, but I didn't get to talk about it yet.
Okay.
So I went to MegaCon.
Oh, cool.
Which is the big comic convention here in Orlando, Florida. It's kind of I think the largest convention in the Southeast.
I was gonna say it's like one of
yeah, and it really is. It's really big. Some cool things there. The floor is great. The floor is huge. I had a full weekend pass, and we did not see every aisle of the show until an hour before it closed on Sunday.
Really? Wow.
It was big. I mean, I knew I had all weekend, so we took our time, but we were in the thick of things, open to close every day.
I mean, you did a lot of panels though too, right?
Did some cool panels.
Because that's like the one thing I never I didn't go this year, and I think last year it conflicted with the Florida Film Festival, so I didn't go then either. But I went pretty consistently, and I would usually didn't do unless I knew somebody on one of the panels. I usually didn't do the panels, just because a lot of them are there all the time, and I don't need to see.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do very many though.
Okay.
I've been to San Diego twice, and those you spend all day in Hall H, or any of those rooms.
Because you're seeing here's footage and this and that.
Here's this movie studio's presentation. Here's the farewell to Battlestar Galactica. Here's this. That's hosted by Joss Whedon. This is hosted by Kevin Smith. This is hosted by J.J. Abrams. You feel like, oh my god, I have to go to these. MegaCon's not quite like that. It doesn't have the breaking Hollywood news.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of that. But I did go to a cool panel that was it was like a night with DC artists or something like that. And there was 3 really cool DC artists. Yannick Paquette, David Finch, and the guy who did the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover.
Okay.
And they had a camera down on them drawing. So as they were drawing characters, they were going through their process, how they became artists.
That's really
stuff
cool.
Like that. It was really cool. They took some questions from the audience about, what should I do to break in? What do I need to do? Why do you do that technique? Why do you draw differently than him? Why are you using inks? It was really neat. It was really cool. You don't usually get that kind of access to their process.
Yeah. So
that was cool. And then Dana and I also, on Saturday night, we went to the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old present, which was, you had to pay for it. It was if you've listened to that podcast, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, it's always just a couple hours with Jay and Silent Bob,
so
Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Is it just Jason Mewes talking then the whole time?
Well, that's the funny thing. So usually on the show, they talk, they tell each other stories, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like a comedy act in a way, but Jay lost his voice. He was sick, so he couldn't really talk. And so Kevin Smith's this has never happened to us in 20 years, but this guy can't talk, and he tried to, and it was bad.
Really?
And he's so tonight it's gonna be Bob and Silent Jay, and then Kevin Smith just went on for 2.5 hours. It was great. He was hilarious. He talked all about his relationship with JJ the first time he met him, and then getting invited to the episode 7 set, and he went 45 minutes with what it was like on the set, what it was like going through confidentiality, what he saw, cool. How he felt. And then they took a couple questions from the audience. Somebody asked him to talk about Alan Rickman, because he was of course in Dogma, and he went literally 35, 40 minutes on Alan Rickman and what he meant to him. And it was really cool. I've talked about it before, Kevin Smith is definitely somebody who has lost me as a filmmaker. I didn't see Tusk. I have no interest in Yoga Hosers. It looks terrible. But I will always like the man. And that guy can talk. It's entertaining as hell. People were laughing in the aisles. Dana thought it was hilarious. She's not a huge Kevin Smith fan.
She loves Mallrats, though.
She did like Mallrats a lot. But yeah, that was really cool. And that was in their Beacon. It was in the Beacon Theater in the Convention Center, which is big. It's a big theater. But even then, looking, that's where Star Wars Celebration is going to be. That's where and it's still just, I don't understand how that compares to, the Staples Center or wherever the hell they did, the one in Los Angeles last year. I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know.
We'll find out. I mean,
they have to have a plan, but I don't know how it's going to work. It's going to be
it may just be like MegaCon, where they just spread it out between.
But I mean, the episode 8 panel.
Have you looked? Are they sold out? Like, are big passes and sold out? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
have you looked again since we got tickets? I know the Jedi pass or whatever, the $700.
No, I mean, I haven't looked. I don't know.
Okay.
But it scares me. But MegaCon itself, it was a really fun event. You got to go. If you haven't gone and you live in this area, you should go. And honestly, if you haven't gone and you don't live in this area and you're like, I want to go to a comic convention this year, should I go to San Diego? Should I go to WonderCon? Should I go to Chicago? I've been to all of those. And
La-di-da.
But MegaCon, if you are going for the comics,
Mm-hmm.
it might be one of the best shows left. Like, people say that about New York, and it's true, like that. But even that one's becoming more corporate. This one still is very much like you have a morning with DC. You have the Marvel panels.
Yeah.
If that's why you're going to a comic book convention for the comics, it's one of the better ones you can go to. And I mean, like, there were 2 straight mornings where we walked over from our hotel, which had a bridge connected to the convention center, literally next to Dan DiDio, the editor-in-chief of DC Comics.
That's cool.
Like, just walking with him. And, like, I feel like that's the kind of access that you get that you don't get at some of the other ones. So it is a pretty impressive event. Kevin Smith himself said that he hadn't been there in 15 years, and he's like, this is like San Diego. Like, what is this for? Like, this place is amazing. So it's cool. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention, and you haven't beaten it yet, so I'm not going to talk. We're not going to have this conversation. We'll talk about it when you beat it. Okay. But I beat Uncharted 4.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved this game. It was awesome. I think that there have been a few people, there's almost no negatives thrown its way, but if there's one negative that is thrown its way from the people who want to say something about it, it's that the pacing is a little bit off.
So you do agree with that criticism a little bit?
There's one section in the last third or whatever.
Okay.
There's a little bit where it's like, this is nice that this is happening, but maybe we could have done without it.
Okay.
A little bit. But even that didn't totally feel that way. And not just the way it wraps up, but like the whole end, and then yes, the way that the epilogue plays out. Great.
Hopefully I'll finish
really
soon.
Great storytelling.
And then we can have an actual in-depth discussion. Now, before we wrap,
yes,
there was one story you had at MegaCon. I don't know if you want to tell it here or you want to save it for the podcast.
I can talk about it.
Okay.
So,
I think we're probably thinking about the same one.
I think so.
Involves treats.
It does.
Okay.
Oh, did you hear about the guy who lost his comic book collection at MegaCon? This was kind of going across the web.
What?
A bunch of comic websites and stuff are posting about it. There was a guy, and he had brought a bunch of his like rare comics because the CGC, the company that grades comics that you need for it to be like officially,
like authentic.
Yeah, like I have a 9.8 copy of this comic or whatever. They're always there because they're based out of Florida, so you can hand give it to them instead of typically you have to mail it to them and then they mail it back. You can give it to them, and then they still have to mail it back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they still do it in their place. Like they do it under like in a place where there's humidity controls, blah blah blah. But it cuts out at least the terror of mailing these things.
Yeah, like if I mail it, if I'm not mailing it, it's not my fault that they damage
when
it.
You mail it to them, I think that's on you. When they mail it back, there is insurance. Anyway, so this guy had brought his comic book collection. I guess he was dressed as a Ghostbuster. At one point, was taking his proton pack off, set his bag down for like half a second. Somebody swiped it. And in this thing, he had like Amazing Spider-Man #1. He had like the first Avengers. He had gems.
Wow.
Swiped. And there's a description of this guy going out. You can find the story online on Bleeding Cool. A bunch of comic websites are posting about this because he knew his comics so well that he knew like on this issue there was this in green writing on the front. On this issue there was this, and he actually got I think the first appearance of the Avengers returned because somebody bought it, had seen the thing, knew that it was his, and returned it to him.
Well, that's cool.
Which is really cool. I can't imagine. I really can't imagine what's going through his mindset. But that wasn't the story. But look up if you are somebody who might be in the market for comics like this, or you own a comic shop, you didn't know about this somehow.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah. Look out for some. There's a line by line description of things that might identify it, and maybe we can get this guy caught. But anyway, so there's a bunch of celebrities. MegaCon's actually pretty good for celebrities, newer and older. So I was able to meet Christopher Lloyd, get a DeLorean signed for Dana's dad, as well as a Batmobile signed by Burt Ward and Adam West, Batman and Robin from the original 1966 series. And Adam West, God bless him, the guy's still kicking around. I think I looked it up the other day. He's like 89 or something now. Still Adam West. But Burt Ward really hasn't done anything since he was Robin in those like 3 seasons of that show. And back then he fit into those tights and everything. And the guy has his resume, his filmography has not expanded, but he has. He's a big man. So we get up to him, and he looks like Pizza the Hut now. No offense to him, but he does. And
no offense to Pizza the Hut.
No offense to Pizza the Hut. Yeah. And we're sitting there, we're waiting for him to sign it, and he's eating something. I'm like, of course this guy's eating something. And then on closer look, it turns out what he's eating is dog treats. The man is eating dog food. This beast of a man is eating dog food, and the people that were right in front of us are getting their stuff signed, and they're talking to him, and I see he's eating dog bones, and I'm like, what is he doing?
As I say, this isn't just like you think. Like he talked about this.
Yes, and so then a closer examination, you look on the table in front of him. Usually there's pictures, like Christopher Lloyd had pictures of him in Back to the Future, and pictures of him in Search for Spock, and pictures of him in Roger Rabbit, and Angels in the Outfield.
Stuff you can buy
Dennis
and get them signed and stuff you don't have.
This guy had pamphlets out that said, "How long do you want your dog to live? With this special dog food, it has less oils, blah, blah, blah." And we're looking at it, and we're like, he's eating dog food. Like, me and Dana are looking at each other. And, he's talking to the people over and over, again, how he has all these dogs and how they should try the food and how they need to buy it for their dogs. And it was the weirdest thing. He's eating dog food. And then, we get over to him, and he signs the car. He's like, "Do you have any questions for me?" And I was like, "Not really." No. I wanted to ask, why are you eating that? But
you should have asked him what it was. I'm like, what is that?
I had no interest. I didn't want to go through that.
It'll make your coat real shiny, Nick.
And he was, he's like, "Nothing at all." And I was like, "Not really. It's an honor." And he was like, "Okay." And I walked away. I had no interest. Usually I don't. In those situations, do you usually try and have conversations with them? I just kind of want to say, thank you for what you do. Thank you for signing it.
It depends. Nice to meet you. It depends on who they are. Usually I'm just kind of they're trying to move the line along. There's been a couple people who I've gotten stuff signed for who've been
I think I joked around a little with Nathan Fillion. I remember Marina Baccarin from Firefly, jokingly flirted a little bit. But for the most part, I'm not interested. Well,
I had a really awkward experience with John Carpenter once. I was getting, a buddy of mine had a They Live poster. He wanted to go get it signed for me. Couldn't make it. And I walked over and I had a Suspiria shirt on. And I walk up to him and he gets signed. He's like, "Oh, that's a good movie." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like it too. I'm wearing a shirt of it. I didn't have anything to do with it. Thanks for the compliment." I don't.
I always hate the shirt thing. Because we will wear a lot of novelty shirts and stuff like that, and you'll be out walking around at the mall or Disney World, and somebody would be like, "Hey, nice shirt," and I never know what to say.
I would just say thanks. I usually go thanks, and that's just kind of it.
I don't even to me, thanks is not I didn't make it.
No, but that was the thing is he didn't even say nice shirt. He's like, "Oh, that's a good movie."
And I'm like, I guess you just say, "Yeah, I agree."
I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm wearing the shirt. I agree. Are we going to talk about?"
I like your movies too, but you don't ever wear the band shirt to the concert, right? That's what But you're talking to John Carpenter, you don't. Really,
yeah.
But yeah, the thank you thing, I can't even do that. I usually just go, "Yeah." Because I don't know what to do. I never know what to do in those situations. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I wish I just wore Hanes white shirts. And then somebody would be like, "I love those Michael Jordan commercials." And I'm like, "Damn it." But yeah, anyway, Burt Ward eating dog treats.
Cool. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up.
I think so.
If you want to keep up with us, you can find both of us on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Rich Belson.
I'm at Stonks.
The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official, and you can find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/overbeer. On Instagram as well, over_A_beer. And of course, YouTube at YouTube.com/overbeer, which today we also have our very first in-depth full-length beer review.
Great Scott.
So you can check that out, again, youtube.com/overbeer. And this Friday we will have our Over a Beer podcast will officially launch through SoundCloud for sure. I don't know about iTunes yet. Other services, I don't know. But you can keep up with it at all the other links that I told you about, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it there too.
Maybe not on YouTube.
No, probably not on YouTube. I mean, we're talking about it on our YouTube show. Yeah. But that'll wrap.
For sure.
Yeah, Twitter and Facebook for sure. But that'll wrap things up for today. Until next time, drink up.